That's it! Now get the hell up and run, Grodd! Run!
Whatever you guys are doing, do it now.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. This is going to be my Flash Season 6, Episode 13 video, probably one of the best episodes of the series so far. I was surprised at how good it was compared to the last couple of episodes especially. There was a ton of Easter eggs, we had a really crazy post-credit scene, so we'll break it all down. If you're new to the channel, we're doing a Flash Ring giveaway. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave your favorite moment from the episode on the video. Careful for spoilers, obviously, if you haven't seen the episode yet. We'll do top 10 WTF and Easter eggs as we go along, starting with number 10. Barry looking for his parents' graves. So this is just a continuation of all the Crisis on Infinite Earths aftermath that they're dealing with in the back half of the season on all the different DC TV shows. They don't really explain till later, but Barry has this very Batman look on his face, carrying these flowers. You know he's probably going to someone's grave, but when he's underneath the overpass, it's not really evident where he's looking for or who the flowers are for. But we find out that because of Crisis, the location of their graves changed. Chester P. Runk winds up helping him find it later in the episode. Speaking of which, Chester P. Runk is back, and it seems like he's going to be a relatively permanent addition to Team Flash, at least in the back half of the season, or at least for the next couple of episodes. Number 9, welcome back Pied Piper. We haven't seen Pied Piper in a long time, and obviously he's one of the big changes because of Crisis. Barry tries to take him down, but we find out that now this new Earth Prime version, the new timeline changes, he's a metahuman, so he still gets away, and apparently Team Flash did something to totally dick him over. Maybe they'll address that in a future episode, but it's just a tee-up for the theme of the episode, Barry trying to deal with all the changes to Crisis and learning how to move past all that. Run forwards, as he says later in the episode, not run backwards. Everyone post all your Flashpoint memes. Number 8 WTF, Barry creates a new version of Gideon, so it's slowly evolving. Remember, Barry Allen himself is the person who originally created Gideon. He learned that way back in the first couple of seasons. Where did you come from? You created me, Barry Allen. Morena Baccarin is still doing the voice. I think that's cool. As big of an actress as she has become, she still does jobs like this, so it's still fun to hear her voice when you hear it all the way back to season 1. I'm assuming because Chester P. Runk upgraded it big time by the end of the episode, he'll just continue using it, but I'm not expecting Morena Baccarin to show up in every single episode, so even though he will be using Gideon technically every single week, we might not actually hear him speaking to Morena Baccarin's voice every single week. Number 7 WTF, Mirror Master versus Iris in the Mirror World, so we finally got a bigger answer on what's going on with this version of Mirror Master. She does have a device, she can totally get through the mirror anytime she wants, but she's been lying to Iris because she wants to use fake Iris to get information on Joseph Carver and Black Hole. They don't really explain why it is and why she's trapped in the mirror. She seems like this damsel in distress that needs to be rescued. But I wouldn't be surprised, early theory is if she wound up in the mirror under different circumstances, like maybe they put her in there because she was too dangerous or something like that. The way they tried to make her seem so sympathetic the first couple of episodes she appeared in just seemed like a bit of a misdirect. Like, we all know that she's Mirror Master, we're expecting some comic booky Mirror Master things from her. I believe this device here she uses to manipulate the mirror is just an analog for this version in the comics. They haven't completely explained what's going on inside the mirror dimension because now you have to wonder what else has Mirror Master been lying about. But we'll probably find out in the next couple of episodes because Mirror Master does seem like one of the bigger villains for this arc, even though they just teased Reverse Flash coming back. So number 6 WTF was the Reverse Flash Caitlin reveal when Barry wakes up inside the Mindspace prison before he realizes what's actually going on. It's just cool to see them. It's pretty instantly recognizable as the Reverse Flash version of Harrison Wells. It's really not until she name drops Firestorm that you know exactly when in the timeline you are during this scene. When she says Ronnie Raymond is creating something, he's calling it the Pipeline. Like, oh wow, this is clearly happening before the events of season 1. I'm assuming that all the stuff that he's experiencing inside here is from Grodd's memories, so it really did happen to Grodd, and he did seem like he was relatively mistreated by Harrison Wells, even though technically when we saw Grodd during season 1, season 2, he referred to Reverse Flash as father. Number 5, fake Iris lying to Joe, stealing information off of his computer on Black Hole. We don't know what it is that Mirror Master is trying to get on Joseph Carver and Black Hole, but obviously they're working together. Either she created the fake version of Iris, or somehow fake Iris just existed inside the mirror world. Like I said, it's not really clear exactly what the rules of the mirror dimension are. Are there mirror copies of everyone inside the mirror dimension? Is that where fake Iris came from? Number 4 WTF, Grodd explains his version of Crisis on Infinite Earths. He remembers everything from the previous timeline before the Earths merged, I think just because his mind was so powerful, it just protected him from the changes. Based on the way Grodd explained everything to Barry, it did sound like he was trying to be honest about changing, like he just wants to go home. That was really what sold it for me, when he was like, that was the only time I was happy, was when I was in Gorilla City, please let me go home. The only thing that changed my opinion of where he might be headed in the future had to do with the merged version of the Flash. I'll talk about that in a second, because that's a really deep-cut comic book Easter egg. But Grodd basically apologizes to Barry for all the previous episodes, like the big Gorilla City episode during Season 3, Season 4, Season 5. Usually they bring back Grodd once per season, and it's usually been Grodd versus Team Flash. That's why 6 seasons in, they try to change the formula a little bit, and it's Grodd-Flash Teamup. But because this is all inside his mind space, that's how he's able to turn Barry's powers back on instantly, like I've given you your powers back, before Barry just punches him right out on the spot. Number 3 WTF was the Flash and Grodd merging Firestorm style to become the Super Gorilla Speedster. So obviously this is super awesome, super weird, and super comic booky. They've never done this in the comics, but this is a bit of an Easter egg for the Flash Rebirth story that involves Black Hole. Early on, when we knew that Black Hole was going to be a big story element during this season, I wondered if they were going to incorporate the Grodd part of that story too, because Grodd winds up being the big architect that's behind Black Hole. Black Hole in the comics is experimenting in the Speed Force. The reason why is because Grodd wants the Speed Force for himself because he thinks he needs it to heal himself. So it becomes this big thing with a bunch of Flash villains. Grodd winds up emceeing all of Team Flash versus Barry Allen. So it's Barry Allen versus all of his friends, including Godspeed, who he breaks out of prison to help him. That's right, Barry Allen breaking Godspeed out of prison. So obviously the comic book storyline is a little bit different. I don't know if they're going to continue to do that later, because when Grodd got the Speed Force, he seemed like he really liked it, and I'm hoping that gives him the idea later on, hey, wait a minute, I was so powerful when I had the Speed Force, it felt so good, I kind of want to do that again, so maybe I'll try to take the Speed Force from the Flash now. So we'll see if they decide to pursue that. I haven't heard anything about that though, so this is early speculation. You also probably noticed the big callback where Barry gives Grodd the pep talk, run Grodd, run. Same pep talk that he's gotten every single season, sometimes multiple times per season. Run Barry, run. Run Grodd, run. Number 2 was the Flash Grodd versus Solovar final battle. Just an amazing fight scene, probably one of the best ones that the show has ever done. They do explain though that if they don't separate them when they exit that portal, they will exit looking like that, looking like the merged Firestorm version of the Flash and Grodd. Then their minds will both simultaneously pop like balloons. So they find a way to separate them, and then Argus and Lila put a tracker on Grodd and let him go back to Gorilla City. So that's where he's now until we see him again on the show. I don't know if they're bringing him back before the end of the season because it's really expensive to do the special effects for Grodd, so they might just reference him in future episodes. Maybe we'll see him again before the end. There was this whole big thing in the episode about Chester P. Runk joining Team Flash. It seems like he's joining Team Flash, even though Cisco, they said, is coming back, and I'm assuming that's going to be next week. So I don't know if this is going to be some sort of transition this season with the actor who plays Cisco leaving the show before season 7 and Chester taking his place, or them both just being on Team Flash. It's just that a lot of the things that Chester does are the exact same things that Cisco does, and why would you have 2 of those people on Team Flash? It just feels like they're bringing him in to replace Cisco eventually. But obviously, number 1 WTF was the Reverse Flash post-credits scene. So they playing this really weird storyline with Nash Wells hallucinating all the other alternate versions of Harrison Wells from the multiverse post-crisis. This time, though, in this episode, he starts hallucinating Sherlock Wells, and then at the end, when he's getting ready to confess to Allegra about his daughter, Sherlock Wells grabs him, says he's coming, and his eyes start glowing red and he's vibrating like Reverse Flash. So early theory, this is where I'm hoping they're taking this. I'm hoping somehow Nash Wells is connected to the other versions of Harrison Wells from the multiverse, but because of the way he's hallucinating them, they're implying that they're inside his consciousness somehow. So maybe this will be a situation where Nash Wells winds up being taken over by Reverse Flash. His body in Nash Wells will effectively become Reverse Flash. They still haven't explained where Reverse Flash went during Crisis on Infinite Earths, why he wasn't around. Was he in the negative Speed Force hiding out? That's the only thing that would have protected him, because Oliver took the heroes into the positive Speed Force to protect them from the antimatter wave, so I'm assuming the same is true for Reverse Flash inside the negative Speed Force. But let me know in the comments, what do you think is going on with the crazy mind space version of Reverse Flash that he's hallucinating here? Do you think they're trying to set up the concept that Reverse Flash will actually be taking over Nashwell's consciousness and just taking over his body, and that's how he's going to come back? But big news, Wally West is coming back in the next episode. The title is The Death of the Speed Force, which is a comic book arc, but I'm assuming the story of the episode will be different from the comics, so I'll do a trailer video for that and then talk more about Reverse Flash stuff, because I think it's all connected. Wally West coming back, the weird stuff that's happening with the Speed Force, and Reverse Flash. If you spotted any big Easter eggs in the episode that I didn't mention in the video, just write them below in the comments. Everyone, click here for my new breakdown of that Batman teaser, and click here for my brand new Avatar: The Last Airbender Netflix video. Thank you so much for watching. Everyone stay awesome. I'll see you guys tonight.